My daughter blocked my number on Father's Day because she thought I was broke. But she didn't know I just found papers worth $2 million in my basement. Now she's begging for a second chance. Watch how I get the ultimate revenge. I stared at the screen of my old flip phone, my thumb hovering over the green button. It was Father's Day. The diner smelled like burnt coffee and rain, a smell that had soaked into my coat over 79 years of living in Detroit. I wasn't asking for much. I just wanted to hear her voice. I wanted to hear Sarah say, "Hi, Dad." That was it. I had ordered a slice of cherry pie, the kind she used to love when she was a little girl with pigtails and gaps in her teeth. I put a single candle on it, which I'd brought from home, in my pocket. It felt silly, an old man sitting alone in a booth with a candle on a piece of pie, but I thought maybe if I got her on the phone, I could describe it to her. I could tell her I was celebrating for us both. My hands were shaking. They always shook these days, the tremors the doctor called them. I pressed the speed dial for Sarah. Ring. Ring. Click. The number you have dialed is not accepting calls at this time. I frowned, pulling the phone away from my ear. My hearing wasn't what it used to be, so I pressed it harder against my head, the plastic digging into my skin. I tried again. Maybe the signal was bad. The storm outside was raging, hammering against the diner glass like a fist. Ring. Ring. Click. The number you have dialed is not accepting calls at this time. My stomach dropped, a cold, heavy stone sinking into my gut. I looked up. The waitress, a kind girl named Jenny who always gave me extra napkins, was watching me from behind the counter. She quickly looked away, pretending to wipe down the pie case. She knew. She saw the look on my face. I tried one more time. I dialed the number manually, my thick, calloused fingers stumbling over the keys. I knew the number by heart. I had paid for that phone line. I had paid for the phone she held in her hand. Click. The number you have dialed. She had blocked me. On Father's Day. I slowly lowered the phone to the table. It made a dull clatter next to the unlit candle. I felt a heat rising in my cheeks, a mixture of shame and confusion. Why? I hadn't called her in weeks. I hadn't asked for money. I hadn't complained about the leaks in my roof or the way my vision was blurring at the edges, turning the world into a gray tunnel. I had just stayed quiet like I always did. Jenny walked over, pot of coffee in hand. "Everything okay, Mr. Carter?" she asked gently, her voice low so the other customers wouldn't hear. I tried to smile, but my lips trembled. I couldn't look at her. I stared at the cherry pie. She's probably just busy," I lied. My voice cracked, dry and brittle like dead leaves. "Big career. Very busy." "I'm sure," Jenny said, but her eyes were sad. She filled my mug. "Coffee's on the house today, sweetie." I nodded, unable to speak. I took a sip, but it tasted like ash. I looked out the window at the gray street. I had something to tell Sarah. Something important. But now, the silence on the other end of the line felt louder than the thunder outside. The phone sat there black and silent. A brick. A wall between me and the only family I had left. I didn't know it then, but that blocked call was the beginning of the end for us. The walk home from the diner was brutal. The rain in Detroit doesn't just get you wet. It soaks into your bones and makes them ache with a cold that remembers every shift I ever worked at the plant. I didn't have an umbrella. I had given my last good one to Sarah 3 years ago when she visited, complaining about the drizzle. She took it and never brought it back. I clutched my coat collar tight around my neck, head down, watching my boots splash through the puddles. My vision was getting worse. The streetlights were just blurry halos now, exploding like starbursts in the fog. I had to count my steps to know where the curb ended. 1, 2, 3, step up. If I miscalculated, I'd be face down in the gutter, and at 79, getting up wasn't a guarantee. When I finally reached my small porch, I was shivering so hard I could barely get the key in the lock. The house was cold. I kept the thermostat at 62 degrees to save money. The pension check wasn't stretching as far as it used to, not with the price of eggs and bread climbing every week. I walked into the kitchen and saw the pile on the table. Mail. It was a mountain of white envelopes that I couldn't read. I sat down heavily in my chair, the wood groaning under my weight. I picked up the top envelope. It had red letters on it. I squinted, bringing the paper an inch from my nose, trying to make the blurry shapes resolve into words. Final. That was all I could make out. Final. Fear, sharp and icy, pierced through my chest. Was it the electric bill? The water? Or was it the property tax? I had missed a payment last month because I had bought Sarah a birthday gift, a gold bracelet she had mentioned in passing. I sent it. She never called to say thank you. And now I was holding a letter with red letters that I couldn't read, in a cold house, with a blocked phone number. Martha, I whispered to the empty room, speaking to my wife who had been gone for 5 years now. I don't know what to do. The silence of the house was heavy. It pressed against my ears. I needed help. I needed someone to read these letters to me. I needed someone to drive me to the bank to straighten this out. I reached for the landline on the wall. The old rotary phone I kept for emergencies. Maybe she just blocked my cell. Maybe if I called from the house line, she would answer. It was desperate. It was pathetic. But I was terrified. I dialed her number again. My heart hammered against my ribs like a trapped bird. Ring. Ring. Someone picked up. Hello. It was her. Her voice was impatient, sharp. Background noise. Laughter, music. She was at a party. Sarah. I choked out, gripping the receiver with both hands. Sarah, it's Dad. Please don't hang up. I have these letters. I can't read them. The red letters. I think I'm in trouble. There was a pause. Then a sigh, long and exaggerated. Dad. Seriously? You're calling me from the landline now? I'm at a dinner, Raymond. A business dinner. She called me Raymond. Not Dad. I'm sorry, I stammered. It says final. I'm scared, Sarah. My eyes. They're getting worse. I can't see the words. I can't do this right now, she snapped. You're always creating drama. Figure it out. You're an adult. Stop harassing me. Sarah, please, I just need. Click. The dial tone hummed in my ear. A monotonous, unending drone. She hung up. She didn't care if the lights went out. She didn't care if I lost the house. She didn't care if I died in the dark. I sat there for a long time, holding the dead phone, while the shadows in the room grew longer and darker, swallowing me whole. The next morning, the darkness in my kitchen wasn't just from the gloom outside. The power was out. I flipped the switch by the sink 3 times, just out of habit, but the bulb remained dead. The refrigerator had stopped its comforting hum. Silence. Absolute. Heavy silence. I opened the fridge door. The little light inside was out too. The milk would spoil soon. The few slices of ham I had for the week would go bad. I stood there in the dim gray light of the morning, my hand resting on the cold metal door, feeling a sense of defeat so profound it made my knees weak. They had cut it. That letter with the red text. It was the electric company. I sat at the kitchen table and ate a slice of plain bread. It was dry and stuck to the roof of my mouth. I tried to swallow the lump in my throat. I had worked for 38 years. I had built cars that drove across this country. I had never missed a day. I had provided. And now I was eating dry bread in the dark because I couldn't see well enough to write a check properly. A knock at the door made me jump. I shuffled to the entryway, my hand dragging along the wall for balance. Who is it? I called out, my voice raspy. It's Leo, Mr. Carter. From next door. I unlocked the deadbolt and opened the door. Leo stood there, a young man in his 20s with tattoos on his arms and a backwards baseball cap. He held a plastic container. Hey, Mr. Carter, Leo said, his breath visible in the chilly air. My mom made too much lasagna last night. She wanted me to bring you some. And, I noticed your lights were out. You okay? I looked at this boy, a kid who worked at the auto shop, who played loud music sometimes, but who always shoveled my walk in the winter without asking. I felt tears prick my eyes, hot and stinging. I started, but my pride stuck in my throat. I was Raymond Carter. I didn't take handouts. I'm fine, Leo. Just a fuse. Old house. Leo looked at me, really looked at me. He saw the unwashed shirt, the shaking hands. He stepped closer. Mr. Carter, it's not a fuse. I saw the truck yesterday. They cut the line. I looked down at my boots. The shame burned my face. Here, Leo said, gently pushing the warm container into my hands. Eat this while it's hot. Do you want me to look at the mail for you? My mom said your eyes are bugging you. I hesitated. Showing a stranger my financial ruin felt like stripping naked in the street. But the warmth of the lasagna against my palms was the only warmth I had felt in days. Please, I whispered. I can't read the numbers anymore. Leo came in. We sat at the kitchen table. He used the flashlight on his phone to illuminate the pile of envelopes. Okay, Leo said, his voice serious. This one is the electric. It's... Wow, okay. 3 months overdue. And this one. He paused, holding up a thick envelope from the city. What is it? I asked, leaning forward, trying to see his face in the gloom. Mr. Carter, Leo said softly. This is a notice of tax lien. They're saying if you don't pay $5,000 by next month, they're putting the house up for auction. My heart stopped. This house was all I had. I built the back deck with my own hands. Martha died in the bedroom upstairs. Sarah took her first steps in this kitchen. 5,000, I breathed. I had $300 in the bank. You need to call your daughter, Leo said, looking up at me. She's a lawyer's wife, right? She can help. I laughed, a dry, bitter sound. She blocked me, Leo. She blocked me on Father's Day. Leo stared at me, his jaw tightening. Give me your phone, he said firmly. What? Give me your phone. I'm going to call her from mine. She won't know the number. She has to answer. Leo dialed the number on his sleek smartphone and put it on speaker, setting it on the table between us. The light from the screen cast eerie shadows on the peeling wallpaper. Ring. Ring. Hello. Sarah's voice. Clear and professional. Sarah, I said, leaning in. Sarah, don't hang up. It's Dad. I'm with the neighbor. A huff of breath. Dad. Who is this? Why are you calling me from a stranger's phone? This is harassment. It's Leo, ma'am, Leo said, his voice surprisingly deep and stern. I'm his neighbor. Your dad is sitting in the dark. No electricity. And the city is threatening to take the house. He needs help. He always needs help, Sarah snapped. He's irresponsible. He spends his money on stupid things. I don't. I protested, my voice rising. I bought you the bracelet. That's why I missed the bill. The gold bracelet for your birthday. That cheap thing, she scoffed. It turned my wrist green, Dad. I threw it out. The words hit me like a physical slap. I had saved for 4 months for that bracelet. I ate oatmeal for dinner for weeks. Sarah, I said, my voice trembling with a mix of rage and grief. I need $5,000 for the taxes. Or I lose the house. Mom's house. I don't have it, she lied. I knew she had it. Her husband bought a new boat last summer. I saw the pictures on Facebook before she blocked me. You have it, I whispered. Please. I'm 79 years old. I can't be homeless. Maybe you should go into a home, she said coldly. State-funded. Sell the house. It's a dump anyway. I'm tired of worrying about you. I have my own life. Stop calling me. Sarah, wait. I'm blocking this number too. Don't contact me unless you're dying. Actually, have the hospital call me. Goodbye, Raymond. Click. The silence returned, but this time it was suffocating. Leo looked at me, his eyes wide with shock. He slowly reached out and ended the call. She threw the bracelet out, I mumbled, staring at the grain of the wood table. That was the part that hurt the most. Not the money. The fact that my sacrifice was trash to her. Mr. Carter, Leo said, his voice shaking with anger. That woman is. He stopped himself out of respect. She's evil. I stood up. I felt dizzy. The room tilted. I need to lie down, I said. I'm tired, Leo. I'm so tired. I'll pay the electric, Leo said suddenly. I don't have $5,000, but I can get the lights back on. I get paid Friday. No, I said, holding up a hand. You're a good kid. But I can't take your money. I have to fix this. I had one option left. The old safe in the basement. I hadn't opened it in 20 years. There was something in there. Something I had forgotten about until just now. A folder. Leo, I said, a strange clarity coming over me. Do you have a flashlight? I need to go to the basement. Sure, but be careful on those stairs. I needed to find the papers. The papers from the 1970s. Back when I thought I was a big shot investor because I bought shares in a company my buddy started. We used to laugh about it. Penny stocks, we called them. Toilet paper money. But I had heard something on the news a few weeks ago, before the TV stopped working. A name that sounded familiar. I had to see. If I was right, everything was about to change. If I was wrong, I would die in this house before I let them take it. The basement stairs were treacherous. Steep, wooden slats that creaked like bones. Leo went first, aiming the beam of his flashlight at my feet. The air down there was musty, smelling of damp earth and old memories. Over there, I pointed to the corner, behind a stack of rusted paint cans. The gray metal box. It was covered in a thick layer of dust. My hands shook as I spun the combination dial. Right to 18, Sarah's birthday. Left to 42, Martha's birthday. Right to 65, the year we married. Click. The latch gave way. I lifted the heavy lid. Inside, it smelled of old paper. There were photos of Martha, her wedding ring which I was saving for Sarah, though now I wasn't sure. And at the bottom, a manila envelope stained with time. Is this it? Leo asked, shining the light on the papers as I pulled them out. I squinted. The text was tiny, a blur of black ink. I can't make it out, Leo. Read the company name. Top left corner. Leo leaned in. Tekdyne Systems? Is that it? Looks like. Wow, 5,000 shares? Date of purchase, 1978. My heart hammered. Tekdyne. That was it. My buddy Mike had convinced me to buy them for pennies. Computers are the future, Ray, he had said. I thought he was crazy. I forgot about them. The company had been bought out, merged, and split a dozen times. Leo, I said, my voice barely a whisper. I need you to look up that company. See if it exists. Leo pulled out his phone. His thumbs flew across the screen. The blue light illuminated his face. He frowned, then his eyes widened. He scrolled. He stopped. He looked at me, then back at the phone. Mr. Carter, he said, his voice dropping to a hush. Tekdyne became part of. This can't be right. What? I gripped the edge of the workbench. They were acquired by a major defense contractor in the 90s. These shares, they converted. He did some tapping on a calculator app. Mr. Carter, if these are valid, if you still own this. He swallowed hard. This is worth over $2 million. The world spun. I grabbed the workbench to keep from falling. $2 million. I had been eating dry bread. I had been humiliated by my own daughter for $5,000. And all this time, a fortune sat in a rusty box in my basement. $2 million, I repeated. It didn't feel like a victory. It felt like a weapon. We need to get to a lawyer, Leo said, grinning now. We need to verify this. Mr. Carter, you're rich. No, I said sharply. Not yet. A thought, dark and cold, formed in my mind. Sarah. She wanted me dead. She wanted the house sold. She treated me like garbage because she thought I was useless. Leo, I said, looking him in the eye. You can't tell anyone. Especially not Sarah. Why not? She'd come running back if she knew. Exactly, I said, straightening up, my spine stiffening with a sudden return of dignity. She would come running back. But not for me. For the money. I wasn't just a sad old man anymore. I was a man with a test to administer. I need to see just how far she'll go, I said. I'm going to give her one last chance to be a human being. Without the money. But as I turned to go back up the stairs, my chest tightened. A sharp, crushing pain radiated down my left arm. I gasped, dropping the envelope. "Mr. Carter!" Leo shouted. The darkness of the basement rushed up to meet me. The last thing I heard was Leo screaming my name. I woke up to the rhythmic beeping of a machine. The smell of antiseptic stung my nose. Hospital. I tried to open my eyes, but the glare was blinding. Everything was white and blurry. My chest felt like it had been kicked by a horse. "He's awake," a soft voice said. A nurse. "Mr. Carter." A doctor stepped into my limited field of vision. "You had a mild heart attack. You're lucky your neighbor was there." He called 911 immediately. "Leo. Good kid. Where is he?" I rasped. "He's in the waiting room. He's been there all night. We told him to go home, but he refused." "And my daughter?" I asked, the hope dying in my throat before the words even came out. The nurse and doctor exchanged a glance. That look, the pity look, I had seen too many times. "We called the number you had listed as emergency contact," the nurse said gently. "Sarah. Did she answer?" "She did," the nurse said, her voice tight. She said she was out of town and couldn't come back. She asked if you were dead." I closed my eyes. The pain in my chest was nothing compared to the knife twisting in my heart. Asked if I was dead. Not how I was. If I was dead. "I see," I whispered. "She also asked about the house keys," the nurse added, clearly angry on my behalf. "She wanted to know if the police had them. She wanted to get in. She wanted to ransack the place before the bank took it. Or maybe she thought I had hidden cash." "She's not coming," I said. "She's never coming." "Mr. Carter," the doctor said, "we need to discuss your recovery. You can't go back to that house alone. Not with your vision and your heart condition. We need to look at assisted living." Assisted living. The place where old people go to stare at walls until they expire. "No," I said. "I have unfinished business." "Mr. Carter." "Send Leo in," I commanded, mustering every ounce of authority I had left. A minute later, Leo burst in, looking exhausted, his clothes rumpled. "Ray. You scared the hell out of me." He called me Ray. It felt good. Like a friend. "Leo," I said, beckoning him closer. "The envelope. Where is it?" "I gave it to the nurse to put in the hospital safe," Leo whispered. "I didn't trust leaving it at the house." "Good." I took a shaky breath. "I need you to do something for me. I need you to find a lawyer. Not just any lawyer. A shark. The meanest, toughest estate lawyer in Detroit." Leo grinned, a tired but genuine smile. "I think I know a guy. My cousin Vinny. He's aggressive." "Get him," I said. "And Leo, I'm going to make you a deal. You help me with this. You help me teach her a lesson. And I'll make sure you never have to worry about your mom's rent again." Leo shook his head. "I'm not doing it for money, Ray. She blocked you on Father's Day. That's just wrong. I'm in." "Good," I said, staring at the ceiling tiles. "Now hand me that phone. I have a voicemail to leave. One that I know she'll listen to." The lawyer, Vinny, was exactly as Leo described. A small man in a sharp suit who smelled of expensive cologne and ambition. He sat by my hospital bed, reviewing the papers Leo had retrieved from the safe. "This is legit," Vinny said, whistling low. "The merger history checks out. The CUSIP numbers match. Mr. Carter, once we file the claim with the transfer agent, you're looking at liquid assets in the neighborhood of $2.4 million. Maybe more with accumulated dividends." $2.4 million. It was a number I couldn't comprehend. I thought about the extra napkins I hoarded from the diner. Okay, I said. Now here is what I want to do. I laid out the plan. It was cold. It was calculated. It was everything I had never been. I want to update my will, I said. And I want to set up a revocable trust. Beneficiary? Vinny asked, pen hovering. We'll get to that, I said. First, I need to make the call. I borrowed Vinny's phone. I dialed Sarah's number. I knew she wouldn't answer an unknown number, so I waited for the beep. Sarah, I said, keeping my voice weak and pathetic. It's Dad. I'm in the hospital. The doctors say. They say I don't have much time. Listen, I know you're mad. I know I'm a burden. But the lawyer is here. He found something in the basement. Those old papers from the safe. He says they're worth a lot of money. Millions. Sarah. I don't understand it, but he says I'm rich. I want to give it to you. Before I go. Please come. Detroit General, room 402. I hung up. You think she'll buy it? Leo asked from the corner. She's greedy, I said. Greed makes people stupid. And she thinks I'm stupid. We waited. An hour passed. Then 2. Then the door flew open. Sarah rushed in. She was wearing a trench coat and heels, looking like she had just stepped out of a catalog. Her eyes weren't red from crying. They were scanning the room. They landed on Vinny, the man in the suit. Dad! She cried, rushing to the bedside. She grabbed my hand. The hand she hadn't held in 10 years. Oh my God, I came as soon as I got the message. Are you okay? I looked at her. I looked at the fake concern plastered over her face. I looked at the expensive purse on her shoulder. Sarah, I wheezed. You came. Of course I came. You're my father. She squeezed my hand tight. Too tight. What's this about a lawyer? What papers? She didn't ask about my heart. She didn't ask about the pain. She went straight for the kill. This is Mr. Moretti, I said, gesturing to Vinny. He's handling the assets. Sarah turned to Vinny, her eyes gleaming. Is it true? Is he really? The estate is significant, Vinny said smoothly. We were just finalizing the beneficiary designation. Oh, thank God, Sarah exhaled, actually slumping with relief. I mean, thank God you're okay, Dad. But we have to make sure everything is in order. You know, for your care. Yes, I said. For my care. I can take over from here, Sarah said to Vinny, reaching for the papers on the tray table. I'm his power of attorney. I handle his finances. Actually, Vinny said, pulling the papers back. Mr. Carter revoked your power of attorney this morning. Sarah froze. Her head snapped back to me. What? Dad, what is he talking about? You can't handle this. You're blind. You're sick. I can see well enough, I said, my voice gathering strength. I can see you, Sarah. I can see you clearly for the first time in years. The air in the room turned electric. Sarah dropped my hand as if it burned her. Her face twisted, the mask of the concerned daughter slipping to reveal the ugliness underneath. What are you playing at, Raymond? Her voice dropped an octave. Hard. Cold. I called you on Father's Day, I said quietly. I called you when the lights went out. I called you when I was scared. I told you I was busy. She shrieked. I have a life. I can't be your babysitter. And now you're going to hold this. This money over my head? After everything I've done for you. What have you done? I asked genuinely. Besides take. You took the umbrella. You took the tuition money. You took my dignity. I am your daughter, she screamed. I am the only family you have. You owe me this. You owe me for growing up in that dump of a house. You owe me for being a factory worker's daughter while my friends went to Europe. There it was. The truth. She hated me. She hated where she came from. Leo stepped forward from the corner. Sarah noticed him for the first time. "Who is this?" "The janitor." She sneered. "This is my friend," I said. "The one who fed me when you let me starve. The one who brought me here when you hoped I would die." "Dad, stop being dramatic," Sarah scoffed, trying to regain control. She smoothed her coat. "Look, let's stop fighting. Just sign the papers over to me, and I'll get you into the best facility money can buy. Private room. Ocean view. Whatever you want. Just sign." She held out a pen from her purse. She was trembling with greed. She could almost taste the millions. "I already signed," I said. Sarah's eyes lit up. "You did? Good. Where? Let me see." "Mr. Moretti." I nodded to Vinny. Vinny handed Sarah a document. "This is the executed trust agreement." Sarah snatched it. Her eyes scanned the page frantically. Revocable trust. Raymond Carter. Beneficiary. She stopped. Her face went pale. Then red. Then purple. "What is this?" she whispered. "Read it out loud," I said. "Beneficiary. The Detroit Humane Society, 50%, she read, her voice shaking. "Beneficiary. Leo Davis, 50%. She looked up, screaming. "Leo? The neighbor kid? You gave my inheritance to the neighbor kid." "He's not just the neighbor kid," I said calmly. "He's the son I never had. And the Humane Society. Well, my dog never blocked my number." "You're senile," Sarah spat. "I'll contest this. I'll have you declared incompetent. You won't see a dime, and neither will this trash." She pointed at Leo. "I've already been evaluated by the hospital psychiatrist," I said. "Certified of sound mind. Vinny made sure of it an hour ago. And everything was recorded on video." I pointed to the small camera set up on the dresser. The red light was blinking. Sarah looked at the camera. She looked at me. She realized finally that she had lost. Sarah stood there, breathing hard, her chest heaving. The realization settled over her like a heavy shroud. The millions were gone. The house was gone. She was getting nothing. "You hate me that much?" she whispered, tears of rage streaming down her face. "You'd give it to a stranger just to spite me?" "I don't hate you, Sarah," I said, feeling a deep aching sadness. "I love you. That's the problem. I loved you so much I let you treat me like dirt. I let you make me feel small. But I don't hate you. I pity you. Pity me." She laughed, a shrill, hysterical sound. "I drive a Mercedes. I live in Grosse Pointe. And you blocked your dying father on Father's Day because you were afraid he might ask for $5, I said. "You're poor, Sarah. You're the poorest person I know." She stared at me, her mouth opening and closing. She had no comeback for that. "Get out," I said softly. "Dad, please." She tried one last pivot, her voice turning to a whine. "I can change. We can fix this. Just tear up that paper. Give me half. Just half. Goodbye, Sarah." She looked at Vinny. He crossed his arms. She looked at Leo. He looked away. She let out a scream of frustration, turned on her heel and stormed out of the room. We heard her heels clicking down the hallway, faster and faster, until they faded away. The room was quiet again. Did I do the right thing? I asked, looking at my hands. They were still shaking. Leo walked over and put a hand on my shoulder. "You did the only thing you could do, Ray. You stood up for yourself." "She's my little girl," I whispered, a tear finally escaping and rolling down my cheek. "She used to have pigtails." "That little girl is gone, Ray," Vinny said gently. "She chose her path." I nodded. It hurt. It hurt worse than the heart attack. But it was a clean pain. The pain of cutting out a rot that had been killing me for years. "So," Leo said, trying to lighten the mood. 50%? Ray, are you crazy? I don't need $1 million. You're going to nursing school, I told him. And you're going to fix your mom's house. And you're going to drive me to my appointments. You're stuck with me now, kid. Leo smiled, tears in his own eyes. Deal. 6 months later. I sat on the porch of the new house. It wasn't a mansion. It was a nice, sturdy ranch in a quiet neighborhood. But the best part was the heating. It was warm. I kept the thermostat at 72, just because I could. My vision was still bad, but I had surgery scheduled for next week that the best specialist in the state said could restore 80% of my sight. Money could buy miracles, it turned out. Leo was in the yard, throwing a ball for a golden retriever puppy I had adopted. We named him Lucky. I sipped my coffee, expensive stuff, not the burnt diner sludge. My phone buzzed on the table. A text message. I picked it up. The font was set to extra large. Unknown number. Dad, it's Sarah. I'm sorry. Mike left me. He took the boat. I have nowhere to go. I know I was wrong. Please, can we talk? I miss you. I stared at the words. She missed me. Or she missed the safety net. She missed the ATM. Mike left her, so now she needed the backup plan. I looked at Leo, laughing as the dog tackled him. I looked at the warm house behind me. I thought about the Father's Day I sat alone in the diner. I remembered the final notice letter I couldn't read. I remembered the feeling of being useless. I tapped the screen. I didn't type a reply. I didn't type, I told you so. I didn't type, come home. I pressed block contact. I set the phone down. Hey Leo. I shouted. You want pizza tonight? My treat. You always treat Ray. Leo yelled back, smiling. That's right. I said. I leaned back in my chair and closed my eyes, listening to the wind in the trees. It didn't sound like a storm anymore. It sounded like peace.